The streetlights flickered, casting long, dancing shadows that played tricks on the eyes. It was Halloween night, and the air, thick with the scent of fallen leaves and distant bonfires, carried an electric charge of excitement and mischief. I was walking home, my costume a little rumpled, a bag heavy with candy bumping against my leg. The usual route felt different tonight, quieter, as if the whole world was holding its breath. That's when I first saw him. He was standing under a dying oak tree at the corner of Elm and Main, a silhouette against the hazy orange glow of the moon. He wasn't wearing a costume, at least not one I could recognize. Just a dark, long coat that seemed to drink the light around it. Most people were laughing, calling out to friends, their faces painted with goofy smiles or fake blood. But he was utterly still, a statue carved from the night itself. As I got closer, I tried to avert my gaze, a primal instinct telling me not to engage. But it was like trying to fight a current. My eyes were drawn to him, and as they met his, a jolt, cold and sharp, shot through me. His eyes, they weren't just dark. They seemed to hold the vast, empty expanse of a starless sky. They gleamed with an unsettling intensity, a light that wasn't a reflection but a source pulling me in. It was captivating, hypnotic, and utterly terrifying. I stopped, my feet suddenly cemented to the pavement. The distant sounds of parties and trick-or-treaters faded away, replaced by a profound, ringing silence. It was as if he had placed a glass dome over the two of us, sealing us off from the rest of the world. All I could hear was the frantic thumping of my own heart against my ribs, a desperate drumbeat in the sudden quiet. The night grew eerily still, amplifying his hold on me, making his presence the only thing that mattered. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just watched me. His gaze wasn't just looking at me. It felt like it was looking through me, peeling back layers of my being, seeing things I kept hidden even from myself. It was an invasive, intimate violation that made my skin crawl. The silence stretched, becoming a physical thing, a heavy blanket pressing down, suffocating. His gaze pierced through that silence, creating a palpable tension, a shimmering wall of energy between us. My hand tightened on the strap of my candy bag, the crinkling of the plastic wrappers sounding like a gunshot in the stillness. I should have run. I should have screamed, but I couldn't. His eyes held me there, a silent command I was powerless to disobey. It felt like minutes were stretching into hours. The tension built, a slow, agonizing crescendo, leaving me suspended on the knife's edge of anticipation and pure, unadulterated fear. Then, slowly, so slowly, the corners of his mouth began to lift. It wasn't a smile. A smile is warm, human. This was a predatory stretching of the lips, revealing teeth that seemed just a little too sharp in the dim light. The expression didn't reach his eyes, which remained cold, vast, and ancient. That's when I noticed the shadow he cast. It was wrong. It didn't match his shape. It was longer, thinner, with spidery limbs that writhed and twisted on the pavement, independent of his stillness. A tiny, choked gasp escaped my lips, breaking the spell just enough for me to take a stumbling step back. His head tilted, a subtle, curious motion like a bird studying an insect. The movement was so unnatural, so fluid, it sent a fresh wave of terror washing over me. He knew the effect he was having on me. He was enjoying it. The air grew colder, a biting chill that had nothing to do with the autumn weather. I could see my own breath misting in front of me. He finally spoke, and his voice was the rustle of dead leaves and the whisper of a tomb. Lost your way? It wasn't a question of direction. There was a statement of my soul's predicament. The words coiled around me, tightening their grip. He took a single step forward, and his wrong shadow slithered ahead of him, stretching towards my feet like a grasping hand. Every instinct in my body screamed at me, a silent internal shriek of pure panic. His gaze flickered for just a moment, down the cross street. In that split second of distraction, my body finally obeyed my mind. I didn't think, I just acted. I spun around and ran. I ran faster than I'd ever run in my life, my lungs burning, my legs pumping with adrenaline-fueled strength. I didn't dare look back. I could feel his eyes on my back, a physical weight, a cold pressure urging me to stop. I could feel his shadow reaching, scraping at my heels. I didn't stop running until the bright, welcoming lights of my own front porch were spilling onto the lawn. I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking so violently I could barely fit the key in the lock. The door swung open and I stumbled inside, slamming it shut and throwing the deadbolt. I collapsed against the door, gasping for air, my heart threatening to burst from my chest. The familiar comfort of my home did little to soothe the terror. For a long time, I just stood there, listening. The house was silent. Outside, the world was silent. The party sounds hadn't returned. It was as if that bubble of quiet he had created had expanded to encompass everything. I crept to the front window, my body trembling, and peeled back the curtain just a fraction of an inch. I peered out into the darkness. The corner of Elm and Main was empty. The dying oak tree stood alone. He was gone. But as my eyes adjusted to the dark, I saw it. There, on the pavement, right where he had been standing, was a shadow. It was just a shadow with no one there to cast it. It was long, thin, and it writhed on the ground, twisting like something alive and in pain. A permanent stain of darkness on the spot where he had stood. I let the curtain fall, my blood running cold. I knew with a certainty that settled deep in my bones that I hadn't just met a stranger. I had met something else entirely. Something ancient and hungry, and I knew it now knew where I lived. Some shadows, once they find you, never truly leave. They just wait. Thank you for joining me for this chilling tale. I hope it added a little extra spookiness to your day. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the shadows. Stay safe and always be aware of who or what might be watching from the dark. See you next time.